That's my wife. That's not my dog. That's another dog that my family owns, but that is not my dog. That's my wife. Her name is Katie. Say hi, Katie. Hi, everybody. That's actually not how she talks, but that's my wife. Hi, it's me, Patrick, and I'm here to talk to you about the chapter over relationships, family and romantic relationships. And what I'm going to talk about first is the nature of intimate relationships and the four characteristics that all intimate relationships have. So please bear with me, listen closely. There's a lot of information that is going to come out right now. After that, about halfway through the video, I'm going to talk about what makes a family a family. But first, I want to talk about the nature of intimate relationships. This is the first section of the chapter. Don't get confused with the nature of romantic relationships, which is the second section of the chapter. The reason to be aware of this is because when we hear intimate, we often think of romance. We think, oh, you're getting intimate with somebody, you're going to, get intimate, but that's not what we're talking about here, all right? We're not talking about that meaning of intimate. We're talking about closeness. So I want to talk about the four characteristics of closeness. The first is that intimate relationships require deep commitment. That sounds kind of obvious. It's deep commitment. That means you're really, really, really involved with somebody and that you are with them no matter what. The second one is that they foster interdependence. When you are in an interdependent relationship, that means that everything you do affects the other person, and that is interdependence. All right? The third is that they require continuous investment. That is another thing that intimate relationships have. It's continuous. It keeps going on and on and on and on. It's not like you can have some investment here and investment there. That is not what an intimate relationship does. And the final thing that it does is that they have dialectical tensions. This is probably the most complex part, so I'm going to take just an extra moment to talk about this. Dialectical tensions are kind of like a rubber band. Okay, so you have a rubber band. I just pulled out here. And the rubber band, as you stretch it, it moves, but there's tension that occurs there. What happens if you pull a rubber band enough? Well, ultimately it will break, right? And that's just like a relationship. A relationship is on this kind of dialectical tension here. And dialectical tensions occur when both members of a relationship have opposing needs or opposing desires. And there's three dialectical tensions. The first is autonomy versus connection. Autonomy means wanting to be on your own, whereas connection means wanting to be with the other person. And so sometimes that tension occurs, and if you don't resolve that, the relationship could ultimately break. The second is called openness versus closedness. Openness meaning wanting to disclose a lot about yourself, and closedness meaning not wanting to disclose a lot about yourself. And again, if those are not resolved, it could break. Finally, we have predictability versus novelty. That means what you would like to do. Say on a Friday night, would you rather be predictable, always doing the same thing? We're going to go see a movie, then we're going to go to dinner, then we're going to go home. Or do you want to try something new every single Friday? Hey, we're going to go to roller derby today, and we're going to go to a theme park tomorrow. We're going to go to mini golf the next week, and always wanting to do something different. So those are the three dialectical tensions. So one more time, there are four parts to the nature of intimate relationships. They require deep commitment, they foster interdependence, and they require continuous investment, as well as spark dialectical tensions. And then there's three dialectical tensions: autonomy versus connectedness, openness versus closedness, and predictability versus novelty. So that's the first half of this video. In less than 4 minutes. Good job, Patrick. Thank you. The next part of the video is going to talk about what makes a family a family. And there's three things that make a family a family. The first thing is that families might have genetic ties. That means you are genetically related to somebody. And that's blood relation. I think that's all obvious to us. The second kind is a legal obligation. Legal obligations are what we have to husbands have to wives, or parents have to children. Okay, these are legal obligations. If we adopt somebody, that's a legal obligation. The third type is role behaviors. Role behaviors are the behaviors that we take on because we are part of that family. So mothers take on role behaviors to children. Wives take on role behaviors to husbands. Uncles take on role behaviors to their nieces and nephews. Role behaviors is where we open up families a lot. Some of you probably have a very, very, very close relation that is not actually related to you in any way. They're not blood related. They have no legal obligation, yet you consider them part of your family. Maybe it's somebody you call uncle, but they're not actually related to your family. Maybe a neighbor you've had forever. So these are what we call role behaviors. Okay, it is possible to have all three. A couple has a child. That is a genetic tie. That couple raises that child because they have a legal obligation. And that couple takes on role behaviors as mother and father for that child. Okay, so those are the three ways that they go together. But they don't have to go together like that. I'm going to use my biological father as an example. My biological father was technically married to my mother for a short time when I was born. But then he left and never came back into my life. So he has genetic ties to me. But he gave up all legal responsibility for me. He gave up his parental rights. And he's taken on no role behaviors because, honestly, I've never met him as an adult. I've never really don't remember him as a baby. Never seen a picture of him. So those are ways that sometimes you might have one type, but not all three types. Okay, so those are some things to think about. You might have just role behaviors. You might just have legal obligations. You might just have genetic ties. You might have two of the three. You might have all three. So just be aware there's different combinations here. So that's the second half of the video. There are three ways that families are families: genetic ties, legal obligations, role behaviors. And that's all for my video today. Hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy those intimate relationships. But not that kind of intimate relationship, although you can enjoy those too. Have a great day, babe. Bye-bye.